Sarah's eyes snapped open, her heart pounding. The familiar weight on her chest made her gasp for air. In the dim light filtering through her curtains, she saw it, a shadowy figure looming over her, its wispy tendrils caressing her face. The air felt cold and dreadful energy filled the room. As it leaned closer, Sarah could smell its rancid breath. She tried to scream, but no sound escaped her lips. Paralyzed, she could hear its voice in her head. Your fear, delicious, it hissed. Its voice, like sandpaper on her psyche. She tried to scream again, but again, no sound. Sarah squeezed her eyes shut, silently praying for it to disappear. When she opened them again, sunlight streamed through her window. The creature was gone, but the foreboding feeling it caused remained. Sarah stumbled into the kitchen, dark circles under her bloodshot eyes. Her roommate Jake looked up from his coffee. Rough night? He asked. Sarah's hands trembled as she poured her own mug of coffee. Sarah hesitated.
I think something's in my room. At night, it holds me down, whispers things.
Jake stared back in disbelief. Come on, Sarah. You're just having nightmares.
No.
Sarah murmured and stared at the floor.
It's real. I can feel it. It.
But Jake just shook his head. Maybe you should see a therapist. Sounds like sleep paralysis to me. Stress can do weird things to your mind. Days passed. Sarah's appearance deteriorated, and she developed dark circles under her eyes. All signs of sleep deprivation. She stopped going to classes, afraid to sleep, afraid to be awake. Her parents visited, concerned. Sarah recounted the story of the same nightly encounters she endured. The sinister voice in her head even when she wasn't asleep. All the details that made her guts churn, knowing that she could not escape it.
Honey,
her mother said gently.
There's no such thing as demons.
Sarah wanted to believe her mom and Jake, but each night the entity returned, stronger, hungrier. Her parents left, but not before setting up an appointment with the therapist. Sarah knew that no one was taking her seriously, and that everyone thought she was crazy. Sarah turned to Jake, shaking.
Stay with me. Please do not leave me alone.
Sarah could barely get each word out of her mouth as trembling took over. It was getting dark outside. Her quiet desperation chilled Jake and convinced him to stay in her room.
You'll see,
she said.
Just wait.
Jake had not intended it, but they had both fallen asleep. As midnight approached, Sarah's breathing quickened. Jake was slumped on a chair in the corner when suddenly the temperature plummeted. Jake stirred, and then his eyes widened as he saw Sarah's body contort unnaturally, pinned to the bed by an invisible force. Jake stood and then became as paralyzed as Sarah felt every night since the entity took interest in her. A gravelly laugh echoed through the room. Jake stumbled back, knocking over the chair. Sarah flashed a tearful glance at Jake, but could not speak. Jake could see that she was trying to mouth something. But fear took over. Jake started to flee, slamming the door behind him. Sarah managed a short, audible scream, but it died in her throat as darkness enveloped her. The demon's voice, now crystal clear in Jake's mind, whispered, "They'll never relieve you. She's mine forever." In the morning, Sarah's room was empty. A note on her pillow read,
I can't take it anymore. I'm sorry.
Everyone assumed she had run away, unable to cope with her delusions. Only Jake knew the truth. But he dared not speak it. Who would believe him anyway? He would never return to that place again. And in the shadows of Sarah's abandoned room, something waited, hungry for its next occupant.
Thanks for staying with us as we have gone beyond the streetlight. Next time you venture out into the darkness, be wary of what might be waiting for you. Until then, sleep with the lights on. Scared of taking that unnecessary shortcut alone? Tell your friends to follow and hit subscribe for more.